Back here, first things first. Don't forget, coming up this week, we have a very special $1 million Super 6 contest for you this week. All you have to do is correctly predict the outcome of six NFL games. So get your picks in for free before kickoff on Sunday for your chance to crown yourself a millionaire. All right, time now for four things first, a collection of things we saw, we loved, and we are starting with Brandon, who loved LeBron hooking up his daughter Zuri with her own playhouse for her birthday.
This is an awesome moment for LeBron. He's been in the bubble, locked down for a couple of months. He goes home. What does he find? His little girl in the backyard, Zuri, in her own house. But it's a good moment for him and a bad moment for me because it reminds me of the worst investment I ever made. I actually, in 2015, bought my twins a house similar to this. And I'm embarrassed to say how much it cost me. And then the upkeep on it was as much as it was taking care of my own house. I'm embarrassed to tell you guys this. And then Nick, Jenna, wow, the kids, they only went in the house 5 times in 5 years. They've been in the house 5 times in 5 years. The worst investment ever. And I blame it on Steph Curry because Steph Curry was the first one that I saw with one of these houses.
All right, Kevin, the frame game.
I love, okay. Look, if you got a Twitter account, follow CJ Folger. He consistently puts great things. So here's what he wrote. Maldonado framed a pitch that bounced, and if you bounce one into the strike zone, it should be a strike. I 100% agree. It's a great take, and as an added bonus, look at where this ball shows up. Look at the little yellow dot. It's like halfway to the catcher. Fantastic video. Good job of framing it. Try to get that strike. Get it right in there.
Oh, God. All right, we got to continue the GOAT debate.
Okay, so I wake up this morning and I see Mo Spates is trending on Twitter.
Yes.
So I click to see why is he trending. And this is why he's trending. Because he posted a meme from Bron Sucks about three-peats. As I'm scrolling through the comments of the meme, this shows up. Someone posted, show what was in the comments, please. That's my high school yearbook picture, and that is actually a photograph that was taken in the hallway of my high school. So I'm just minding my own business, scrolling through Twitter this morning. Some lunatic who goes to my high school that I graduated from 15 years ago, he took a picture of my picture in the hallway to use it to slander me on the internet. I didn't even know what was happening. I bothered by all of it.
That's what happens.
You are.
Yeah,
that's what happens when you have these terrible takes about MJ.
Brandon, evidently. But real quick, Jenna.
It's adorable.
Underrated about me. I have big ears. I guess the nose has always distracted people. I never knew I had big ears. I learned from this photo I have big ears. The nose is just cloaked me, I guess.
You come a long way. You come a long way, Nick. You look fine. You come a long way.
All right, game one, Braves-Dodgers. Monday night, Ozzie Albies hits a home run. It goes into the bullpen. His pitcher, Mark Melancon, makes the catch. What are the chances? When's that ever going to happen again? Oh, I don't know. 24 hours later, game 2, Braves-Dodgers. Ozzie Albies at the plate again. Hits another home run. Mark Melancon's warming up in the bullpen again. Makes another catch. 2 nights, the same batter, the same catcher, both of them are the pitcher. It's literally unbelievable. The chances, I looked it up, are 0%, and yet it happened. And here's the deal. Game 3 set for tonight. If I'm back here tomorrow morning talking about this, I can't even tell you what that will mean. It will go down in the annals of baseball history.
What?
Anyway, I thought that was fascinating. To the Bucks now. I don't know. Tom Brady didn't follow that whole thought through. To the Bucks now. All right, Tom Brady hasn't been shy this season, letting guys know when he's, let's call it, unhappy with them. He's been seen multiple times. You've seen this on the sideline, calling out teammates, yelling at the bench, throwing his tablet. We saw that last week. Bruce Arians was asked about Brady's recent outbursts. Take a listen to this.
When you see Brady get fired up, yelling at some of his offensive linemen for the penalties that were committed on Thursday night, Do you like that? Do you understand that? Is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? How do you gauge that type of interaction between your quarterback and his offensive line?
Just be yourself. I don't have any problem with it. At least I don't have to go back there and cuss them out. They've already got the air full by the time I get over there. So Tom's got to be Tom. I'm not going to ask him to be somebody different. He does a good job of patting him on the back too. He might explode, but he's going to go down there and pat him on the back and get him going.
All right, Brandon, what'd you make of what Bruce Arians had to say?
So every Monday, I take off to New York to shoot our show on Showtime Inside the NFL. Tuesday, after the show, around 3 o'clock, I board another flight and I come back home. Last night, I tried to break down every team, right? I was trying to get ahead of it. I'm like, okay, there's still a lot of football left to be played. Let me see what's going around, what's happening around the league and what we should be watching out for. So when I got to the Bucs, here's what I found. They're the worst team in the league when it comes to penalties. Their offensive line lead the league in penalties. If I'm Tom Brady, I'll be yelling at them too. Because you come from New England Patriots where if you shoot yourself in the foot, take off and run around. And I know it's like, okay, how can I shoot myself in the foot and still run? But you get it, what I'm saying. They do not beat themselves. That's what Tom Brady is used to the last 20 years. So, of course, he's going to be angry. So, first of all, when you look at how undisciplined this team is, and they've been undisciplined for the last 2 years, I would be mad as well. Because when you're facing 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20 over and over and over again, you have no chance to win. That's one of the reasons why they lost in Chicago on Thursday Night Football. Let's then go back to who Tom Brady is, period. We can't be fickle here, folks. We have seen Tom Brady in Super Bowl 51 come back from 28-3 and use that same tenacity, that same emotion, that same passion, cursing out Gronkowski, cursing out Coach McDaniels. We can't say in one moment, oh, this is awesome. This is what a leader's supposed to do. And another say, well, is the team are they going to respond to this? Well, obviously they have, because what he's done is won 6 Super Bowls. What he's done is won back-to-back divisional titles for 20-something years, it seems like.
All right. I agree with almost all of that. The only small issue I will take is I would imagine he is going to be a little less vociferous on the sidelines this coming week when the most recent game ended with him asking for a 5th down and nobody yelled at him. And a little reminder that, you know, even the greatest of all time can make mistakes. So maybe when Ali Marpet gets a holding penalty, I shouldn't freak out the way I do. But you're right. He's always been a yeller and a screamer. More often than not, it was to either Bill O'Brien when he was the OC there or Josh McDaniels. Not as often was it the teammates, but that was because the teammates weren't making these types of mistakes. And Wilds, this is where I think so much of the commentary last year missed the boat. Because people may very well have been right that Tom Brady didn't have a lot of weapons. But at least the weapons that he had, to continue Brandon's analogy, never shot themselves. And now he's going to be on a team, or he is on a team, with a ton of weapons. But he's also back in general population of the NFL, where you're going to be penalized, you're going to have back-breaking mental mistakes by teammates, and that's a world Tom Brady hasn't had to live in. So maybe while Bill Belichick didn't surround him with the greatest cast of receivers at his last few years in New England, at least they weren't making these types of mistakes. And what Brady is having to deal with this year is what almost every team, every quarterback has to deal with at some point in their career, which is, man, my team can't get out of its own way. And I imagine that's frustrating for everyone, Wilds, but particularly for Tom, who never had to deal with that for 20 years. Go ahead, Brandon.
Brandon, let me show you let me show you the graphic, Brandon. Here, Katana, can we hit the graphic? Because I think it illustrates Brandon's point on how disciplined the Patriots were. Look, this is total this year, and I know we missed a game. We've only got 3 penalties for 17 yards. So, you know, it's my old favorite saying. I've said it on the show before. Herm Edwards told me, you're either teaching it or allowing it to happen, and Bruce Arians is allowing it to happen. So I think Tom Brady, although we've never seen him yell, like you said, Nick, he's yelling at coaches. Now he's got to yell at the players because Bruce Arians isn't. So I think this is like
Brandon,
something Tom didn't expect. Go ahead, Jenna.
Brandon, do you want that coming from? I can understand once in a while coming from your quarterback.
Yes, yes.
But don't you want that message? You don't want that message coming? Okay, and it doesn't want that from the head coach. Does that take away from who the head coach is?
It can come from either. When you're Tom Brady, and you are who you are, and you've had all that success, it probably resonates a little bit more because of the success you've had. Remember all the stories that were coming out of camp when guys got back. They're like, wow, when he walks in the locker room, it's just different. When he walks in the locker room, we're like, if we don't match his intensity, then we're failing. So yeah, it can come from the coach, but it's sometimes even better coming from the Russell Wilson. Sometimes it's better coming from the Ray Lewises of the world. It's just better when it comes from the star players because there's nobody that can hold us more accountable than our fellow locker mate. Nobody. And here's another thing, too, while Tom should be angry and frustrated, is because for the past 2 years, this team has been the most penalized. That's a fact. And then also, this past week, we had the least amount of penalties per game in 46 years. They're just not calling it.
Wow.
They're letting guys hold. Yep. So for them to lead the league in penalties and also yards, it's alarming. And this is a guy that comes from structure. This is a guy that comes from discipline. Yep. This is a guy that knows that it comes down to 1 or 2 moments in the game. And if you don't have the discipline and you don't understand situational football, you can't win.
He also, though, and again, to be fair to Tom Brady's teammates, who obviously we know if the Bucs season goes awry, they will be the ones blamed. If you want to be able to call everybody out for their mistakes, you got to make less yourself. And not just forgetting the down.
That's not true. That's not, no, Nick. No. When LeBron makes mistakes, LeBron has that privilege. Tom Brady has that privilege. MJ has that privilege. When you are who you are, of course, we're not expecting everyone to be perfect, but Tom Brady has that privilege when he makes a mistake. Okay. No, yeah, you can say something to me.
That's fine.
But at the
I just think it resonates more if you're not the 25th best quarterback in football that year. That's all.
But he's done that. But Nick, think about that. That's also what made New England great.
He used to be awesome.
That Bill Belichick was able. Bill Belichick stood in front of the meeting room and called Tom Brady out. So if you want to hold Tom Brady accountable, you can. He's done it his entire career.
Okay.
All right. Well, Jordan never made
I think it resonates more if he plays better.
That's true.
Brady might be particularly spicy Sunday. Bucks hosting the Packers, the undefeated Packers. The Titans put a stiff arm on the Bills last night, much the way Derrick Henry did. Beware Tuesday Night Football. Next. First things first.
That's just bad.